You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from his favorite sports family. I'm Big Q, and on the line we got DC chiming in. What's going on, DC?
Yo, what up?
Everything, my brother. And in this episode, podcast 252 on the Sports Coma, we recapping the Saints' 24-23 win over the Baltimore Ravens. That's right, the Saints finally get it done. Sean Payton and Drew Brees finally get wins over the only team in the NFL that they never beat. And we're going to recap that fantastic game and that miraculous kick, as it just appears that a lot of these AFC teams that the Saints are playing, including the Cleveland Browns, are losing to the Saints on kicking woes. So I keep it coming. We give a big shout out to Justin Tucker and a big respectful shout out to John Harbaugh, because remember, he was the one that sent Will Lutz down here. So we appreciate him as well. So Saints 24-23 win. We'll be recapping that today on the show. And also we'll be talking about other Saints news and notes, potential trade rumors that's going on and circulating around the NFL tied to our Saints. We'll talk about the offense and defense and special teams. Today we'll have our thumbs up, thumbs down segment. As usual, it's traditional for our shows, the post-game shows, and of course the Sports Coma question of the day. And replies from the previous question. We'll also read those today as well. So without further ado, we'd like to give everybody a big shout out, including our new listeners and established listeners, as the shows we continue to get new people chiming in, commenting, new people listening. Thank you guys for joining us and being a part of this wonderful discussion about our Saints. Without further ado, let's get right into a DC 24-23 win over the Baltimore Ravens. The Saints started slow, but finished strong, took a little luck. Sometimes we win them pretty like we did against Washington. Sometimes you're going to win them ugly, like they did against Baltimore. Before we get into any of the statistics and breakdown, let's hear your analogy on what happened the Saints in Baltimore game.
There's a lot of positives to take away from this game, and there's a few negatives as well. I thought it was a back-and-forth game, man. This is a true battle of two heavyweight contenders, man. It was blow after blow, mostly a defensive game up until towards the middle of the second quarter. Really, the second quarter. Second half. I'm talking about the middle of that. And we hung 17 points up on them in the fourth quarter, man. I thought the play calling and the aggressiveness of Sean Payton was brilliant. As you can see clearly by the 17 points we put up on them in the fourth quarter, they were able to slow the Baltimore's defense down over time. Pounding a lot of those runs, 11 carries for Mark Ingram just in the first half. Even though he didn't get against a ton of yards, he definitely took a toll on the defense. So that was a very entertaining game, man. And wow, what a surprise at the end. The negative side of it, man, how do we give up a touchdown with that little bit of time left, man? It's just that same problem that's been plaguing us since the Minnesota game. It's like somehow we've never really fixed this, which will go into a topic we'll talk about later that potentially could.
No doubt about it, man. I was concerned at first with the Saints. Offense kind of stammered a bit out the gate, but that's understandable when you're playing a team as difficult as Baltimore. This is a totally un-Sean Payton-like game, as he was continually going for it on fourth down, which showed that he really, really wanted this game. And as I deem it, and I've never heard anybody, I usually coin things before most people say it, but I call it the revenge tour. It started right when Drew Brees caught the record against Washington and is continuing on as they're just checking off their bucket list. Drew is now beating a team that he never beat before, including the team. He's beaten every team in the NFL, including the Saints when he was with the San Diego Chargers. He's also have won the Saints continue their bucket list as they travel to Minnesota next week, and we'll preview that game later on because they're going to get revenge from what happened last year. That's also on the bucket list, and that's also on the revenge tour. So the Saints keep it rolling. Very uncharacteristic Sean Payton calling type of game. It kind of loosened up later in the second half as it began to become the Saints that we're accustomed to seeing as the passing game just took off. So I'm just really happy. Of course, they could have did a better effort. And it was billed as the Saints offense against the Baltimore Ravens defense. But really, the Saints defense did a lot of good things to stammer this Baltimore offense. But we had a couple of plays that we seen from the special teams that continue to show up. We seen P.J. Williams personal fouls and pass interference calls with him not whipping his head around and look for the ball. We seen Ken Crawley make about 3 mistakes, although he did make a couple of good plays. Then we seen the bad play when giving up the touchdown toward the end of the game when John Ross ran past. They was supposed to shove him. Marshawn didn't do a good job of shoving him well enough, and Bell didn't get over quick enough to prevent that touchdown. That cannot happen, and that is proof putting why the Saints need to address that issue, and we'll talk about that later on in the show. But let's get right into the statistics on this one, DC. Looking at some of the team statistics, the Saints 26 to 25 on first downs in this one. They were on third downs. They were 6 of 14 for third downs and 4 of 5 on fourth down. Baltimore was 5 of 12 on third and 1 of 2 on fourth. Total plays, Saints finished the game with 70 plays, 64 for the Ravens. They had 9 total drives for the Saints versus 8 by the Ravens, and the Saints averaged almost 5 yards a play versus Baltimore's 5.5. Penalty-wise, you look at what the Saints did penalty-wise. They were 6 penalties for 52 yards. Baltimore 5 penalties for 54 yards. Saints had 1 turnover, which was a fumble that they lost. They had the time of possession 33 to 31 versus Baltimore's 26 of 29. And looking at some of these total passing statistics, Saints finished the game with 205 total yards passing versus 274 by the Baltimore Ravens. The Saints did outrush the Ravens, 134 yards for 77 yards by the Baltimore Ravens. Now, team statistics, well, actually the total yards, total altogether yards for the Saints, 339 versus Baltimore's 351 in this affair. So really sold out crowd. Over 70,000 people watched it in M&T Bank Stadium, and Drew Brees came alive in his statistics. Drew finished with 22 of 30, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns versus Flacco's 23 of 39 for 279 and 2 touchdowns. Elvin Kamara got right back on par, 17 carries for 64 yards in this game. He finished in those carries, and then Michael Thomas, who kind of struggled a little bit, but just came alive as the game progressed. 7 catches, 69 yards, and a big touchdown catch on a slant from Drew Brees. Really awesome in this game. So Mark Ingram, not so much in this game as he was in Washington, 12 carries for 32 yards, very limited. Taysom Hill was a major factor in this game, 6 carries for 35 yards as the Saints Wildcat continues to thrive. Traquan Smith, 3 catches for 44. Big ups to Ben Watson against his former team, 6 catches, 43 yards and a touchdown. Ben was big in this game. We're going to play a little Drew Brees later on the other side of the break as he talked about Ben Watson getting a little revenge against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, DC, before I carry on and hit the people with the defensive statistics, let's do our thumbs up and thumbs down right away here.
My thumbs up is going to be Baltimore's kicker. I'm going straight off the gate with Tucker, man, because I don't think either one of us, Baltimore or New Orleans, really wanted that overtime. Kind of glad that didn't happen. We're facing Minnesota next week, and that would have been very difficult, man. So shout out to Tucker. That's going to be my thumbs up, the Baltimore kicker. And a thumbs down is going to be, I got to give it to none other than my man Ken Crawley. We're constantly getting beat by Brown all day. But I'm also going to add Dennis Allen in there, too, and give him a thumbs down. Because I don't know why. Okay, we had Deshaun Jackson. You got Ridley. You got Brown. It's constant, over and over, man. These speedsters keep lighting Ken Crawley up, and why do we keep putting them on him? So I'm going to have to give a thumbs down to Ken Crawley and Dennis Allen for realizing way too late, hey, maybe it'll be better if I put Marshawn Lattimore on Brown. And then he goes quiet. So maybe he should have played on Crabtree earlier. So that's going to be the Baltimore kicker. That's who sizzled, who was up, who was popping, fresh out the fish grease to me. And Ken Crawley and Dennis Allen for a thumbs down.
Very well said. Ken Crawley, once again, always finds himself in the thumbs down section of the show. And, of course, to reinforce your point, John Brown finished the game. He had 7 catches. He was targeted 7 times. 7 catches, 134 yards, 19 yards per catch average, and a score. The big score at the end of the game that almost tied, and it's just Justin Tucker, one of the most accurate kickers in the NFL, the accurate kicker in the NFL, wasn't able to kick a extra point, which he's never missed before, which helped the Saints win this game. And sometimes you win them like that. But you're absolutely right. Ken Crawley, once again, was toasted, burned again, and gave up another. Well, I ain't going to say that was his fault, giving up the touchdown, but he was toasted. And the majority of Joe Flacco's yardage came from John Brown in this one. Even though Crabtree caught 5 catches for 66 yards, he was still a non-factor as he didn't catch a touchdown. And Marshawn Lattimore continues to keep his man out of the end zone. So big ups to Marshawn. Not thumbs up player. I have to give a thumbs up. I'm going to give a thumbs up to Ben Watson. I think Ben Watson earned this one, even though, he played really well. And this is kind of a revenge game for Ben. I think this is our first time we ever gave Ben Watson a thumbs up on the thumbs up section, but he gets one today. 6 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown for Ben Watson. He was targeted 6, caught all 6 passes. He had it on his mind to make it right against Baltimore. He was there for the last 2 years. Ravens ultimately released him, and he paid him back. So thumbs up to Ben Watson and a very good game for him. And, of course, the thumbs down, I'm going to have to give him a thumbs down to P.J. Williams. P.J. Williams, once again, pass interference calls and, missed that tackle. When he reached out there, he whiffed at it, missed the guy, and he ultimately ran down the field to set up that touchdown. So, P.J. Williams, to me, man, he done a few things. But like I said, every time they do one thing, they nullify it with 3 terrible things. P.J. Williams is not whipping his head around and locating the ball. It's the same Ken Crawley disease. They both have the same disease. P.J. Williams got it way worse. But anyway, that's going to be it. Yeah, they sick, real sick. And the only cure is amputate, which means surgery to remove them from the team, cut them from the body, and release them. Snip, snip. Snip, snip. But anyway, that'll do it for the first segment. We're going to go on into our break right now. But when we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to get into the defense. We're going to talk about the defense. We're going to talk about the special teams. We're going to hit you with our Sports Coma question of the day. We also have news on Patrick Peterson. We're going to have DC to chime in on news on Patrick Peterson and the potential trade. And then we have the replies from the previous question. All of that. Oh, I forgot to mention interviews from Sean Payton and Drew Brees on this game. All of that is on the other side of the break. Stay with us. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q. Talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Box, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, Unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics. And autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that?
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Recapping the Saints win over the Baltimore Ravens by the righteous score of 24-23, as the Saints need a little luck to get it done. But hey, man, when you're good, sometimes that's how it go. And this seems to be the season where things are going for the Saints. They really are. And when you have two teams from the AFC, namely the Browns and the Ravens, who you have miscues on the kicking side of the ball that ultimately give the Saints the advantage, you have to start looking at Saints. You can't start looking at Saints more than just luck. Something more is going on here. So,
and what about the Drew Brees double triple spat?
Yes, it's you know what though, DC, the great thing about this win is a lot of the stuff that went with Baltimore, all the stuff about what Baltimore was doing to teams, not allowing them to put up points in the second half of games and shutting them down from running the ball. The Saints shattered all that mess. They were able to pass the ball to Baltimore Ravens over what they usually would allow teams to do on their yearly average. They were able to rush the ball against the Baltimore Ravens effectively.
134 yards rushing.
134 yards rushing against the Baltimore Ravens. Total 212 yards total for Drew Brees throwing on the team. You ain't supposed to do that against the Baltimore Ravens. So big respect to the Saints.
The only team that scored in the second half on Baltimore all year, and they did it 3 times.
3 times.
In one quarter.
So the Saints did a terrific job. Now, of course, they're dealing with Baltimore Ravens defense. We know about C.J. Mosley. We know about guys like Brandon Williams, the big defensive tackle, and then we know about T. Sugar. T. Sugar, and we talked about guys like that. You know how great that defense is and how they draft well, but nobody ain't talking and respecting the Saints. Michael Strahan did give the Saints defense credit during the halftime of the show. He just said that the Saints defense is weak. He didn't know that they were that good, so it's showing up. And the Saints defense were able to shut down Baltimore's running attack. 23 carries for 77 yards, and this was nullified. And then basically why they had so many yards, Flacco had 279 yards and 2 scores, basically because he was just throwing at Ken Crawley. That's basically all he was doing, is throwing at Ken Crawley. And Ken Crawley's man had 134 of the 279. So if you remove that away from Flacco, his numbers is pretty pedestrian, which his
trash night.
Right, exactly. So let's look at DC. Let's look at the defense like we promised to go into the defensive statistics. A.J. Klein led the day. He had 7 total tackles in this game. Ken Crawley, even though you gave him the thumbs down, he had 6 tackles, 1 pass defense in a game. Demario Davis, once again, is tied for the tackle total. He's always either 1 or 2. He's a dude there he had a couple of excellent open field tackles. I mean, Demario Davis is magnificent. Big ups to the Saints for really going after Double D during free agency and locking him down and bringing him in here because he's been special. and the Saints' resurgence on the defense. David Onyemata had 4 tackles. Marcus Williams had 4 tackles. Manti Te'o was able to play. Him and Marshawn Lattimore both had 3 tackles, along with Alex Okafor, who had 3 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a pass defense, and 2 QB hits. So Alex Okafor getting funky on. Sheldon Rankins was big. He had 3 tackles in this one. Von Bell had 3, and also Kurt Coleman. We had a Kurt Coleman sighting. He had a couple of tackles, along with Cam. Cam had a couple of tackles in this game. PJ had 2. Alexander Loney had a few as well in this game. So the Saints defense really stepping up leaps and bounds to make things happen for the defense, keeping the Saints really in this. Of course, the back end is where they suffer with the stupid play in which they gave up the touchdown. Really soft calls late in the game where they was just playing back and trying to prevent the deep touchdown, and ultimately ended up happening anyway. So the Saints made a mistake. They should have ran off a lot more time than leaving 2 minutes on the clock for Baltimore to march the field. That's never a good thing to do. A little mismanagement there. But outside of that, DC, based upon some of the defensive stat, what's your opinion, man, on how the defense played against the Ravens?
As usual, maybe the last 4 games, I thought we were excellent, superb, exceptional against the run. We're not giving up a lot of yards. I know some of it is basically because people try to attack us, but we do have to give the defense credit. They're attacking us through the air because they can't run. So I think that's wonderful. Somebody that's missing on the stat sheet to me, and I wonder what was going on, because starting to come on Davenport, man. He's nowhere on the stat sheet, and thought that was a little weird. And I don't see Cam on the stat sheet. Well, he got two tackles, but I'd like to see Cam get a sack, man. He was in the backfield a lot. Never quite got to the quarterback. I mean, the offensive line is huge, though. They had a lot of big guys on the offensive line, man. But that one sack that we got ain't gonna cut it, bro. That's a part of a reason that Joe Flacco was able to get that 275. We couldn't get to him, man. We was back there putting pressure on him. He wasn't comfortable all the time, but we couldn't get to him, so I'd like to see that happen. But big game for A.J. Klein, man. Glad to see him lead the team in tackles. It's been a long way coming for him. I was very critical of A.J. Klein at times. It seems that he's turned the corner and stepping it up, so I'm willing to eat my words. I'm liking what I'm seeing from A.J. Klein, man. Demario Davis did his thing as usual, some big stops. Our linebacking core is looking strong, man, so I'm liking what I'm seeing from Marshawn Lattimore for the most part. He had some stuff going on. I think he had a penalty against him. Gave up a few plays. But for the most part, he's looking like he's shaping in the form, man. And the only sore spot to me is really Ken Crawley and P.J. Williams, man. It's this constant thing that just goes on. It's like, who's that guy? And contact them. More Ken Crawley than P.J. Williams. He just does a few knucklehead things from time to time. But other than that, I thought the defense stood out in the run game, and it was very, very solid there, man. If we could show up these big plays in the passing game, man, we really can be a unit to be reckoned with.
Yeah, very good. Very well said, DC. And before we elaborate further into the game, let's hear a little bit from Coach Sean Payton on his thoughts about how his team did against the Baltimore Ravens. Here's Coach Payton.
Try to talk above the base a little bit here. Obviously, a hard-fought win. Two good football teams. I felt situationally that game was going to be back and forth, third down, red area. Thought we did a real good job in the kicking game, creating some field position. There were so many different elements to the game that's kind of running through my mind. I don't think he's ever missed an extra point ever. So it's funny sometimes how this game is, but it was a significant play. Thought he played well. I thought the plan going in, he executed it very well. There was a certain element to patience. There was a certain element to commitment to running the ball, time of possession, how we wanted to approach third down. Defensively, I thought we handled third down well. We got to work on our end of game 2 minute, but there were a lot of things that I thought we did well on the road that I was pleased with. There's a plan that you want to take, and it's not with reckless abandon, but it is with a confidence approach. I felt like we, on the fourth down call down in the red area. I felt like we had gotten the first down on the third knee yard with Ingram's run, and we hadn't, obviously. And hindsight, I would have kicked a field goal there, but my mind was prepared that we had gotten the first down. I felt like he had a positive gain, and yet I think it might have been a little longer than just third knee yard. But anyway, we wanted to come in and play that way. We didn't think it was going to be a high-scoring game, so points were going to be at a premium, and yet field position was going to be more importantly at a premium. And we wanted to play as much as we could on their half of the 50. Those half yards, those fourth and a half yards are tough for me to concede. I think more importantly, it's the final team he needed to beat, in his career, and we hadn't beaten him together, just in the time we've been here. John's done a great job. That team has been a real salty team and a tough team, and they've been a hard team to beat. So I think he would probably, if you asked him, value that as much.
That was Coach Payton breaking down the game, his thoughts on the game. Very interesting by Coach Payton. Obviously, he really wanted this game. He wanted it for himself. He never beat Harbaugh in the Baltimore Ravens. He wanted it for Drew Brees, and the team went out and got it for him. Ben Watson wanted it to beat his old team. Let me tell you something. This was a very hard game. Baltimore is not what they like defense, like the legendary defense like they used to be, but they're still one of the top 5 top units in the NFL. What the Saints did was, let's not underestimate it, even though they won on a botched field goal by the other team, they did do some spectacular things in this game. I mean, throwing on the Baltimore Ravens when nobody else could, running on the Baltimore Ravens when nobody else could. 2 of their guards were basically hurt. Warford, big ups to Larry Warford playing with a bad back, played the entire game with a bad back. Big ups to Cameron Tom, who came in the game when Josh Larebius went down, who was filling in for Andrews Pete, who went down. And Cameron Tom stepped in and did what he needed to do in this one. You understand? So big ups to that guy as well. What I'm saying is Traquan Smith stepping in. He had a spectacular game against Baltimore, but Traquan Smith still had 3 catches for 44 yards in this game, averaging almost 15 yards a catch in this matchup against the Baltimore Ravens in replacing Ted Ginn Jr. So even Dan Arnold into the mix. We didn't see Josh Hill out there much, but Dan Arnold caught 2 catches for 35 yards. He was targeted 3 times. So the Saints, what I'm saying is, and then Taysom Hill, everything that he brings, everything that he does, everything he's doing, the mix is just another vibe to the Saints offense where they got a Wildcat and Taysom Hill doing some excellent and special things. So what I'm saying is the Saints overall are playing on another level. So before we finish our breakdown, let's hear what Drew Brees had to say about his play and his team's play against the Ravens.
Listen, that's a significant milestone. But if you just focus on winning football games and, just keep it very focused, then I think those things they tend to happen. I mean, I will forever be grateful for the opportunities I've had in the NFL to play this game, to play on the teams that I have had the chance to play on, the teammates, the coaches. They're the ones who have made this so rewarding. And, the guy who caught that ball, Benjamin Watson, one of my favorite teammates of all time. He, a guy who I look up to a lot, inspires me a lot. And so can't think of a better guy to have caught that ball. And again, that just on down the line, there are many other guys who have caught those touchdowns, and just makes me think of all of them. The more confidence you build, the more momentum you feel like you have. And then there's no situation that you encounter where you feel like you can't win it. So, man, these are huge games to build the identity of your team. You only get to play these guys once every 4 years, so not to put the pressure, on it each and every time. But, man, every time we've played these guys, it's been a battle. Obviously, they've had some pretty great defenses over those years. Going back to, Ray Lewis and Bulware and, Dalius Thomas and Ed Reed and Chris McAllister, and the list goes on and on. Haloti Ngata. When I name all these guys, these are like household names, and all these guys have passed through here. And so, just respect this game so much. And, every time you play these guys, you know what type of game it's going to be. I'm just glad we were able to come up with a win today. The more battle-tested you are, from games like this, I think that serves you well as you go along. Like I said before, just with the confidence and feeling like no matter what the situation in the game, we're going to find a way. We're going to find a way. We believe. We've done this before. That type of mindset. And it's nice to run away with them every now and then, but you just know that it's the NFL, and a lot of games end like this.
That was Drew Brees right there. What you thought about his comments there, DC?
Drew Brees is basically laying it out the way it is, man. He's pretty much a straight shooter. He ain't gonna give you too much, but he gonna tell you what's going on, man. So definitely gonna side with Drew on that.
Oh, brother, it's a good call, DC, bro. You must have heard that interview before. But anyway, let's move into the next round. Let's talk about the Sports Coma question of the day. That's the next thing we got. The Sports Coma question of the day. Gonna lay it out to you. And this should be a good one for all you splendid sports guys out there, all you Saints fans out there that know the team well. Feel free to answer this one. And remember, all replies in the Sports Coma question today is read upon the next show. So that'll be in the breakdown show going up against the Minnesota Vikings later on in the week. And the Sports Coma question of the day is, which player on the Saints roster would you cut or restructure for a potential trade for defensive back Patrick Peterson? You heard me right. Which player?
Can I answer?
Which player would you cut or restructure for a potential trade for Patrick Peterson, for defensive back Patrick Peterson from the Arizona Cardinals? Of course, the Saints make the trade. They're going to have to probably move a little salary around. Which player would you restructure or cut to make that work? So put your answer in the comment section below, and we'll read it on the next show. So let's get into our replies now, bro. Let's talk about the replies from the previous Sports Coma question of the day. Now, the previous Sports Coma of the day's question was, will the Saints finally get a win against the Baltimore Ravens? And what will be the score? Comments will be read on the next show. Of course, we always say that. Tim Russ chimed in. What's up, Tim? He said 35-14. We finally win, but it'll be because of our running game and defense. It's windy, so Drew shouldn't throw that much. Now, listen, his score is off. It wasn't 35-14, but the Saints did rush for 134 yards in this game. They did get a score there, so it was a major part of the Saints. Now, Drew did throw for over 200 yards in this game. He had 2 touchdowns through the air. That didn't stop much, but the defense was definitely there. So Tim is in the ballpark. Not exactly on spot, but he's in the ballpark with that comment. Appreciate you, Tim, for chiming in, man, as usual. Going to our next person, Josh London. Josh London chimes in. I'm going to make a quick correction to the asinine and take my Ryan Clark and say what he meant to say was Drew Brees reminds me of a surgeon, because that's how it should have been phrased and what should have come out of his mouth. Brees strategically picks apart defenses week after week and knows exactly what you're doing on a play-by-play basis, unlike the cats like Favre who flung it around the field, throwing up stats like 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 INTs. Now, what Josh London is commenting on is the last show when we had the breakdown on Ryan Clark saying that Drew Brees is not a top 5 quarterback, and Max Kellerman saying that he's barely inside the top 10. And of course, I basically told all the Saints Nation and Who Dat Nation we should revoke Ryan Clark's card, because I think he's from New Orleans. I think he's from down here.
He's from Gretna.
Well, you need to revoke his card, his Saints card or whatever, and throw him out of here for saying stupid, asinine stuff like that. So thanks, Josh, for chiming in, man, on that. He said in one of the stupidest things I've heard him say, and he says a lot of stupid things, but one of the stupidest things that he said was that Drew Brees reminds him of his accountant. And I just don't understand what that means. And my comment on the show was, if Drew Brees...
That man with CTE starting to kick in, man. Give him a break.
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave him alone, bro, because his eyes was kind of bugging when he was saying it, so I guess I'm going to just leave that. But let's go to the next comment, DJ Austin. What's up, DJ? What's going on, buddy? Yes, we will Yes, we will. Going to be a close game. And since the Ravens have the number one defense, we have the number one offense, and the Ravens is not allowing points in the second half, Brees is going to pick them apart because we, the New Orleans Saints, is a second half team. And my question to you is, do you think we're going to trade for a cornerback when you're talking about Pelicans? Okay, do you think we're going to trade for a cornerback? And when are you talking about the Pelicans? Okay, DJ, thanks for commenting, buddy. Okay. The Pelican. No, DJ is a fan of the Pelican post-game report. We appreciate DJ, man. Big ups to DJ, man. He's one of our favorite people out there. Yeah, DJ, Pelican post-game report is should be up. A latest episode is up. We've been a little behind, man. We've been kind of busy with a few things. We upgrade some equipment and we add new shows. In the next 3 days, they'll have some more boxing content. We'll have some more Pelican shows rolling out there and recaps and previews. We got another one coming up tomorrow against the Clippers. They have one that should be up tonight, recapping the Sacramento Kings game. And, of course, the preview of the Los Angeles Clippers game that'll be coming up tomorrow. So, yeah, DJ, just subscribe to the Pelican post-game report channel, and you'll be able to see it, buddy. I don't know if you're a subscriber over there, but get over there. You can look in the description section below the video, and it'll have the link to where that channel is. Simply go over there, click it, and subscribe, and you'll get all that content. Now, as far as the trade for a cornerback,
good answer.
Thank you, sir. As far as the trade for a cornerback, Patrick Peterson obviously is the thing, and DJ once again gives us the perfect segue into the NFL news. DC, we got one more comment to read. So, but DJ gives us the perfect segue into the cornerback news. Please elaborate and share with the family the news on Patrick Peterson and the Saints.
Well, according to Adam Scheffler of I think that's NFL Network, Patrick Peterson's cousin is on Twitter saying that the Saints are potentially the number one landing spot for Patrick Peterson. So obviously him being an LSU Tiger, I'm sure he's always had his eyeballs on the Saints. Him being a South boy from Florida, I believe. He's probably always been a fan a little bit, when he was younger or whatever, and in LSU. And I think he would probably really appreciate coming out here to play with a contender. So all of it is, I wouldn't say it's hearsay at this point. It's really starting to heat up. Supposedly Mickey Loomis is in talks with Arizona as well as the Eagles. So we definitely got to try to figure something out, man. I mean, this is a potentially once-in-a-generation type guy. I mean, at one point they were comparing him to Deion Sanders. It's probably the closest thing you can get to Darrell Reeves, probably the best shutdown cornerback in our time. So I think you do it, man, if we can get him for maybe a second-round pick and a fifth or something like that, or we potentially trade somebody like P.J. Williams and Ken Crawley, but who would take them at this point? I say you restructure Tyron Armstead's deal and Cam Jordan at the same time, man. That frees up the money and figure out what you're going to do with the draft picks. So hopefully Mickey Loomis can run that Mickey Mouse magic, baby, and we can get Patrick Peterson down here, and we'll be pretty much the favorites to win the NFC.
Appreciate that, DC. And I gave my commentary about Patrick Peterson on the previous show. You guys probably heard that already. Of course, I think it's getting ratcheted up because of the fact that you see all these blockbuster trades happen. You had the Khalil Mack trade early in the year, which was just mind-numbing. Now today you get the Dallas Cowboy trade to acquire Amari Cooper from the Raiders.
That was crazy.
That's absolutely insane. What I'm saying about the Patrick Peterson trade is for the Saints is I think that after watching the Baltimore Ravens game and seeing how P.J. Williams played, and Ken Crawley continue to play, you can't honestly say to yourself you're going to get a Super Bowl when you have to line up half a secondary, and I mean cornerback. You got Marshawn Lattimore doing all he can, been behind him, doodly squat. I mean, Crawley at one time was holding his own, but his confidence fell on the ground. He's not even doing what he was doing that was doing well to keep the team together. So,
well, Big Q, in his defense, as you say, you think I'm always trying to stick up.
I think he could defend himself. Maybe not.
He's defenseless right now. But he made several plays on Sunday, man. He actually did. He had a touchdown that he prevented with a batted pass. He had a few more plays he made. Of course, he reneged on some of that with a pass interference. No, that was P.J. Williams with pass interference, but he gave up all them catches to Brown, man. But I actually saw him in the beginning of the game. He kind of looked like a bright spot until they figured out he couldn't go at Brown, and it was all downhill from there.
It's helping the Saints see the vision more clearly that we definitely need somebody on the other side of Lattimore if we have Super Bowl aspirations. So I'm just happy, not because of the man struggling. It's because the Saints finally see that they're going to need more than him and Williams on that side and Hardy to make a deep run at a Super Bowl. So big ups to the Saints for recognizing that.
To see Ken Crawley get an opportunity from Patrick Peterson to play the number 4 cornerback spot where he belongs.
Exactly. He would be a fine dime guy. Of course, we forgot about PJ and we forgot about P-Rob who got hurt, so he'll be back next year. So
P-Rob is gone for the whole year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that'll do it for the show. Thank you guys for listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the Guy. As always, I want to throw this in here to let y'all guys know that the Pelican Post-Game Report, Ring Kings Boxing, Tough Tiger Talk, all of those shows have their own YouTube channels now. So if you're a fan of LSU, if you're a fan of the Pelicans, or if you're a boxing fan, go to the links in the description section below and subscribe to those channels, because we will no longer be putting that content on this channel. This will be exclusively a Saints All Saints channel. So if you want that other content, please feel free to go to those other channels and subscribe right now. And thank you guys, the new and established listeners, for listening to us tonight. The commenters, all you guys are terrific. Thank you. As always, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Media Network. Become a contributor. You can contribute to the show, and you can see the list of things that happen when you go to Patreon. If you contribute at a certain level, you can get shows early than most people get them. All kind of great perks at patreon.com. Please go and explore it. And you can join our social media family. Those links in the description section below. You can also support our sponsors. Those links are in the description section below. And from me and DC and the entire crew at the Sports Coma, thank you for listening to us tonight. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free entertainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessories, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog, newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share, and help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.